In the dead of night, at precisely 3 a.m., the world of the Harper family shattered with the sound of glass exploding inward. The quiet suburban street, cloaked in a heavy stillness, was torn apart by the crash, sharp and violent, like a thunderbolt splitting the sky. James Harper, a father and former Marine, snapped awake, his heart hammering, instincts forged in the deserts of Iraq kicking into overdrive. Shards of glass rained across the bedroom, glinting like jagged stars under the pulsing red glow of the alarm system. The siren's wail sliced through the house, a banshee scream that set every nerve alight. Beside him, his wife, Sarah, gasped, clutching the sheets, her eyes wide with terror as she scanned the darkness for answers. From down the hall, their youngest son, Ethan, let out a cry high-pitched, raw, cutting straight to James's core. His mind raced, each possibility darker than the last: fire, burglary, or something far worse. There was no time to think. He rolled off the bed, ignoring the sting of glass biting into his palms, pulling Sarah to the floor as another crash echoed from the ruined window frame. His pulse thundered, nearly drowning out the chaos. Shadows moved beyond the jagged hole. Two figures clad in dark uniforms, boots grinding against the splintered frame, gloves gripping the edges. They looked official at a glance, badges gleaming, patches stitched across their chests. But James's trained eyes caught the lie instantly. The badges were cheap, crooked. The patches hung loose, poorly sewn. The word HOA enforcement flickered under the strobe of the alarm. HOA? Smashing windows at 3 a.m.? Rage surged through him, but he held it in check. This was no legitimate operation. This was an ambush. One of the intruders raised a glinting object weapon or bluff, it didn't matter. James didn't wait to find out. His body moved before his mind could catch up, muscle memory from years of survival taking over. He lunged for the closet, ripping open a hidden panel. His fingers closed around the cold steel of the Barrett M82, a .50 BMG rifle he hadn't touched in years but kept pristine for moments like this, moments he prayed would never come. Sarah's muffled sob came from the corner, her arms shielding her head as debris fell. Ethan's cries grew frantic, each wail a dagger in James's chest. This wasn't random. It wasn't a mistake. It was deliberate, targeted, reckless. Through the broken window, a second man climbed in, his boots slamming onto the dresser, his stance aggressive, predatory. James's decision was instant. No warnings. No negotiations. These men had forfeited their right to mercy the moment they invaded his home, endangered his wife, and terrified his son. His breath steadied, a cold resolve washing over him. He raised the Barrett, the weight familiar, grounding. His aim locked on the entry point. Fear was gone. There was only action. James Harper was no ordinary suburban dad. Beneath the calm exterior, the man who coached soccer, who waved to neighbors over the hedge, lay a past carved in fire and blood. 2 tours in Iraq, a silver star earned through raw courage, not chance. He didn't seek trouble, but when it came, when it crossed the line into his home, he met it with a ferocity few could fathom. Outside, the intruders shouted, their voices harsh, absurd. "Open up! Emergency HOA inspection!" As if those words could justify their assault. James's disbelief twisted into something darker, primal. The man at the window stepped inside, glass crunching underfoot, his hand tightening around the glinting object. His partner barked orders into the night. James saw the intent in their movements: aggression, not authority. Enough. He rose from the shadows like a storm breaking, the Barrett steady on his shoulder. The first shot roared, a deafening blast that shook the house to its bones. The .50 BMG slug tore through the wall like tissue, hurling the intruder backward into a cloud of dust and debris. The recoil slammed James's shoulder, but he stood firm, unyielding. Silence fell for a heartbeat, the house holding its breath. Then chaos erupted. The second man scrambled, slipping on glass, deviating for the stairs in a desperate bid to flee. James tracked him, cold and precise. The second shot thundered, then a third, a fourth, each one a declaration: "This is my home. My family. You will not take them." Walls shuddered, plaster rained down, the air thick with gunpowder and splintered wood. The second intruder collapsed mid-flight, tumbling down the stairs in a heap of broken bravado. The fifth shot obliterated what remained of the wall, leaving a gaping wound in the house's facade. Outside, footsteps pounded across the lawn, surveying intruders fleeing, their plan shattered by a force they hadn't anticipated. James stood still, the Barrett smoking, his eyes scanning the wreckage. He didn't flinch. This wasn't triumph. It was duty, grim and necessary. Sarah's trembling voice called his name, pulling him back. Ethan's sobs echoed, softer now but still sharp. James lowered the rifle slightly, senses razor sharp, knowing the threat might linger. 5 minutes later, red and blue lights flooded the street. Police cruisers screeched to a halt, officers spilling out, weapons drawn. They froze at the sight, a suburban home gutted, walls riddled with holes, glass carpeting the porch. 3 intruders lay scattered, groaning amid the rubble. And there, on the front steps, sat James Harper, flannel pajama pants, barefoot, the Barrett across his lap, his face calm but unyielding. He met their gazes, unflinching, almost apologetic. Almost. Sergeant Daniels, a grizzled veteran with eyes that had seen too much, stepped forward. He surveyed the scene, then James, and let out a heavy sigh. "Harper," he said, holstering his sidearm, "only you could turn a break-in into a damn war zone." His voice carried grudging respect. James gave a faint nod, the barest hint of a smile. The EVY Denke spoke for itself. Daniels glanced at the intruders, shaking his head. "Same crew we've been chasing. Fake HOA badges, terrorizing folks for weeks. Picked the wrong house this time." "You did what you had to," Daniels added, softer. "No one's arguing that." James's shoulders eased, the rifle now just a weight in his hands. His family was safe. That was enough. But deep inside, a quiet pride flickered, not for the violence, but for standing his ground, for protecting what mattered most without hesitation. The investigation unfolded under the glare of police lights. The intruders were frauds, using the guise of HOA authority to extort and intimidate. By day, they flashed fake badges, demanding cash for fabricated violations. Those who resisted faced night inspections, terrifying raids to force compliance, or rob them blind. At the heart of it was Victor Callahan, the HOA's senior inspector, a man entrusted to safeguard the community. Instead, he built a criminal empire, recruiting desperate men, arming them with fake IDs and scripts to prey on neighbors. When James learned the truth, fury surged anew. Callahan wasn't a stranger. He was a neighbor, a supposed protector who'd betrayed every family in the community for profit. The betrayal stung deeper than the glass in James's hands. Federal marshals moved fast, arresting Callahan and his crew. Charges piled up: burglary, assault, attempted kidnapping. The trial drew crowds, the prosecutor holding James's actions as a beacon. "Defending your home isn't a crime. It's a right." James became a lightning rod. Headlines dubbed him the dad who stopped the fake cops. Some hailed him as a hero, a symbol of standing firm. Others whispered he'd gone too far, that his firepower teetered on vigilantism, setting a dangerous precedent. Was he a protector or a powder keg? The debate raged, splitting the community. Offers flooded in interviews, book deals, MOVYs. James turned them all down. He hadn't fought for fame. He'd fought for Sarah, for Ethan, for the sanctity of their home. When the final gavel fell, the last conspirator sentenced to 20 years, James stood in the courtroom, Sarah's hand tight in his, Ethan proud beside him. The judge, his voice warm with rare sincerity, thanked them for their courage, for standing when others might have broken. Peace settled over James, not the fleeting kind, but the hard-won peace of a man who'd faced hell and emerged whole. Their home, scarred but standing, was a fortress again. The street, once haunted by fear, was alive with children's laughter, neighbors' chatter. That night, the Harpers returned home. The house bore its wounds, cracked walls, shattered glass, but it stood defiant under the dusk sky. Ethan tugged James's sleeve, his young face solemn. Dad, were you scared? James looked at the hole in the wall, where dawn's first light now spilled, painting the floor gold. A soft smile curved his lips, heavy with the weight of truth. Sure I was, he said, voice steady. Fear's not weakness, son. It's what tells you what's worth fighting for. It's not a reason to quit, it's a reason to stand and protect the ones you love. Ethan nodded, slipping his hand into James's. Sarah's touch lingered on his back as they stepped inside, through the wreckage, into a home alive with strength. The silence wasn't fear or loss. It was peace, earned through fire, sealed with love. Outside, dawn broke, its light a promise. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. For James Harper, that was everything.